the recording if
Oh,
possible.
sure. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Okay, MJ, we're live and Clarence is coming in.
Yeah, I
So,
see.
okay, hey Clarence.
Hi, Happy
Hi.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, Trouble.
Hey,
Okay, so we are live on Facebook and we're going to get the show started. All righty. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to Shy Panther and Friends on this Thursday, January 7th, 2021. Welcome,
Wow.
welcome, welcome. Please share the page. Let everybody know that we're here. I am your host, Gail, and I have with me MJ Johnson. We have Clarence, and we have our special guest, Dr. Jaya Prakash. Did I say that right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so everybody, if this is your first time checking out Shy Panther and Friends, I just want to tell you really quickly that our mission is to provide quality programming. And by creating inspiring content, networking prospects, our viewers get closer to realizing goals. And so ultimately, we celebrate the power of the narrative to manifest meaningful change. That's what the whole goal is for Shy Panther and Friends. And you can reach out to the show at Shy Panther and friends show number one at gmail.com. All righty, so we're going to go ahead and introduce the panel. MJ, go ahead and tell the people who you are.
good evening, everyone. I am MJ Johnson or Marcella Johnson, and I am friends and co-worker with Gail and Clarence. I'm also the proud owner of MJ Healthy Me Health and Wellness website. You can reach me at mjhealthyme.com, and also taylorbeesbeardoil.com is my creation as well. So uh, basically, I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm glad to be
That's
here
great.
tonight, the first of the year, 2021. Yes.
Yay.
I
uh,
just want to remind everybody if you have any sounds in your background, it's going to interrupt who's ever speaking. So if you can mute your background, and that will help for everyone to be heard. Okay, moving on to Clarence.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Clarence Thomas. I'm the original Clarence Thomas, the other one we won't discuss. Excuse me. I'm a retired sergeant of police from Chicago. I'm also a now retired employee of the OEMC, where I met Gail and Marcy. That's my troublemaker. So, but right now, I'm owner of nothing. I'm retired. I do what I want to do, and it's nice to see everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Okay, that's
I'm
it for
muted.
me.
Oh yeah, I just realized that I'm muted. Okay, now we want to introduce or have Dr. Prakash introduce and tell us actually what she does. She's an MD and she is a certified health coach and she has an MPH, a Master of Public Health. And
mhm.
she has quite an extensive background, also known as Coach Jaya. So we're going to let you tell us about your extensive background and what you do and how you're going to help us with diabetes today.
Yes. Well, thank you, Gail. And it's such a pleasure to meet you, Clarence and MJ as well. So I am Dr. Jaya Prakash. I'm originally from India. I was born and raised in a city called Pune near Mumbai or Bombay. And I became a doctor following in footsteps of my aunt, who was also a doctor in India. And then I taught in two different medical schools, as well as practiced infectious diseases and public health and all the fun stuff that goes with it for almost 13 years before coming to actually Chicago suburb. So in 93, I
Mm.
came with my family to Wheaton, Illinois, and we were there till almost 2010. I have a daughter. She's all grown up. She's now in Florida, and that's why now I'm in Florida. I'm in Melbourne, Florida, near Kennedy Space Center. But my MD was in infectious diseases, and I practiced infectious diseases and public health and immunology and all that fun stuff that goes with it for many years. And then after coming to US, I started teaching in a chiropractic college at that time, National College of Chiropractic, which now is National University of Health Sciences, is more than 100 years old in Chicago. It is in suburb of Chicago called Lombard. And I continue to teach there, but I've been there for more than 20 years. I've also taught at other universities. Again, same thing, infectious diseases, public health, pathology, and many other medical subjects, if you will. And one of the subjects I'm very passionate about is diabetes. And when it's appropriate, I'll share a bit of my story. Why? But I can tell you, once I found a solution for myself, I became a certified health coach to make everybody healthy and well, as I have become. If you see over my shoulder, that used to be me 5.5 years ago. Not anymore. 5.5 years. Here I am, set to much more healthier and fun. And I'm also author of the book Diabetes: What's the Big Deal, in plain English, because more we know, better we are equipped to do what we need to do. So thank you again, Gail, for reaching out. And I am so happy to share my thoughts and answer any questions anyone has about diabetes, pre-diabetes, health, wellness, what have you. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. Um, my question, well, basically, to begin, what is diabetes? What is the condition of diabetes?
That's a great question, because a lot of people think diabetes is just a disease of sugar control, that you can't control the sugar in your blood, and that's when you call it diabetes. But diabetes is actually a very complex disorder. It is not just sugar. Sugar is just like, it's like the smoke that you see when there is fire in the forest, but all you see is smoke. So that's just one aspect of diabetes. Diabetes is a very complex disorder. And one of the things that more we learn about different types of diabetes is one of the things that it sets up in the body is inflammation. And that interferes with a whole lot of other organs like your eye, your heart, your liver, your nerves, all of those things. But essentially, you're not handling glucose very well, but you're also not handling fat or any of the nutrients that come into your body. So it is truly a complex metabolic disorder rather than just a sugar disorder.
I'm muted. That's what I found too in my research, that they spoke about it as a metabolic disorder. So the different types of diabetes, type 1, 2, and then you mentioned pre-diabetes and then finally diabetes. So what's the differences between the two types
All these
anyways?
different ones. Yeah. So two main recognized types of diabetes in medical community is type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. The older term for that used to be insulin dependent diabetes and non-insulin dependent diabetes. But we have kind of got away from that because even type 2 diabetics can become insulin dependent later on. But the reason why type 1 diabetes, and that can occur even in children, not just in adults, but in fact, many a times it can occur in children, and then it would be called juvenile diabetes.
Oh yeah.
It is because in pancreas, you have certain types of cells which produce insulin. Insulin is a main hormone which regulates your blood sugar. And when those cells are attacked by a virus or chemicals, mostly it is a viral attack, which will destroy those cells, then you don't make any insulin anymore. And when you don't make any insulin anymore and you eat, the glucose goes way up and then it doesn't come down easily. Or if it comes down precipitously. So you become a very unstable type of glucose in your body. And, in children, insulin is not just a glucose regulator, it also affects your growth. it is important for body to grow to have insulin along with the glucose and other hormones. So that's why juvenile diabetics are at a higher risk of not growing as well as they should. So type 1 diabetes was the term that was given to that because it is really unique. It's not exactly like type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, is in fact only a few percentage, handful of percentages really because of genetic issues, predisposition, but a lot of it is because of your lifestyle. And if that lifestyle, especially obesity around the midriff, if that occurs, it sets into motion a variety of processes, which ultimately then leads to our body not allowing insulin to do its job. And that's when many a times you will hear on the TV things being called insulin resistance. Uh, but it really is about body not allowing insulin to do its job. And eventually what happens is when glucose is high in the body keeps on, pancreas is the organ which puts out insulin. It tries to keep out as much insulin as it can, and finally it gets exhausted. And when it gets exhausted, then you need insulin because it is no longer producing insulin. So it's a long process. It doesn't occur overnight. And that's the good news because you have time to intervene and do
Mm.
something about it. So type 2 diabetes has become more common because our lifestyle has become what we call obesogenic or obesity-genic lifestyle. And that's why type 2 diabetics at the beginning don't need insulin, but later on need insulin.
Mm.
And we need exercise helps because exercise kind of combats that insulin resistance. So all those things are a little bit different. So we call it type 2 diabetes. But before that type 2 diabetes becomes evident or that glucose in the blood is too much, you're creeping towards that, and that creeping up phase in the middle is what is called pre-diabetes. How do we
Oh,
know that? We don't really know that by just feeling the symptoms of diabetes. So you have to do blood tests to, kind of get an early warning sign. So it's like you
right,
have smoke detectors in your house to detect the smoke way before you can smell it, right?
right.
The
Hmm.
same way you want to know the pre-diabetes before the diabetes actually becomes evident, like, you start feeling the symptoms. So that's what the pre-diabetes is. So you have normal kind of blood glucose, you're able to manage it, and then you're kind of decompensating. That's your pre-diabetes, and then it hits and it becomes diabetes. So
Right.
again, how long it takes depends on how much of your lifestyle is off, how much of inflammation is there, how much of glucose overload is there. And this is where your genes play a role. If
Mm.
you have that family history, genetic tendency, then you can go through that pre-diabetes much more quickly. And then your diabetes may become a little harder to manage. But you have lifestyle also is familiar, right? We tend to do what our families do.
True.
Our favorite
Yes.
foods, all that,
Right.
lifestyles, all of that. So there is that. That's why we call it multifactorial disease. It's not a single thing like type
That
1
okay.
diabetes. Okay, virus attack, that happened, but it is not like that with type 2.
Okay. Well, before we get into more of what we can do to prevent it from going from pre-diabetes to diabetes, Clarence, Marcy, or MJ, you guys want to jump in and
Uh, I'll just say it's ironic because my primary care doctor specializes in diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
He's on staff at Northwestern, Thomas Spitz.
Okay.
Uh, oh, I don't know if you know him or not.
No, I don't. I have not been in Chicago for over 10 years now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I think he teaches. He's been around a while. I'm not looking forward to him retiring, but he's at that age because he's been my doctor for over 20 years,
Wow.
and I don't have diabetes. That's not why I went to him. Um, One of my coworkers went to school with him, so that's how I met him, and I just decided I'd have him as my primary care doctor, and I've had him as such for over 20 years. But
That's awesome.
unfortunately, my niece was diagnosed with type 2
Mm-hmm.
diabetes um, about maybe a couple of years ago. And she's on insulin now, and I think she has to take insulin twice a day or something like that. Uh, why why would that be that she might have to take insulin more than once a day?
Well, part of it is also how stable her glucose is. If her glucose is unstable, if it goes too high, too low, and you monitor it and you know what the pattern is, then you may have to give two times insulin because she might be spiking her blood sugar way too high at night. So when she wakes up in the morning, her blood sugar is way high. So now you got to take insulin in the night. So that spike comes down a little. And during the day when you're eating, again, you want that insulin to do its job of removing the glucose from the blood into your tissues. Your main tissues that take glucose from with the help of insulin is your muscles. So more active you are, more better insulin can do its job. Okay, so it can get it in because muscles are demanding glucose, and insulin is like the doorman who opens the door for the glucose to come in.
Hmm.
Okay, but if you have too high an insulin, which sometimes happens in type 2 diabetics, then muscles say, hey, way too much, I don't want to hear about insulin, so they start shutting the doors or insulin receptors, and that's when you see that insulin resistance. So if you have a sedentary lifestyle, you're sitting a lot, maybe that's your job, you have to sit at work the whole day, you don't have an option of moving around a lot, then your muscles are not demanding as much glucose, so they start shutting those insulin doors down. And over a period of time, again, this doesn't happen overnight, it happens over a decade or so. Yeah, if you don't need a doorway, are you going to have that door? No, you're going to stuff or put stuff or permanently lock the door, right? So that's how it becomes. It becomes much harder to reverse that insulin resistance. So you put more insulin to kind of shove it open, so to say, right? It literally is like that. I mean, body is trying to compensate for not getting the glucose in when it needs it, and sometimes you just have to supplement insulin because your body said, hey, I'm done, I put as much insulin as I can't do anymore, I'm exhausted, so now you're doing it from outside. So those are the two things that can occur. And it's not like, while I talked about virus attacking your pancreas, it's more common in childhood. It can occur in adults too. I have a client who became type 1 diabetic. He never had diabetes before and he didn't have any issues of obesity or any of that, but he became type 1 diabetic at the age of 72. And he thought he had a really bad case of flu, but it wasn't. It was one of those viruses which not only attack the rest of the body but also attacks pancreas. So it can occur, not very common but can occur. So that's those are the things. That's why it's not a simple disorder, it is a complex disorder. I'm glad you have a doctor who specializes in that and teaches in that, and he's your doctor, which is wonderful because he can understand those nuances for his patients, which is great.
Well, I noticed. Um, well, I used to work out 5 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I did it for a long time. But
Yeah.
the older I got, the less exercise I got, and he's been every time I go see him, that's one of the first questions he asks me is, "Have you been exercising? How much exercise you've been getting?" And I haven't been getting a lot, but I'm surmising from listening to you that exercise of some sort is important.
Yes, absolutely. And exercise means you really want to use your large muscles. And it's simple activities like, for example, for example, I work from home now. Love to do that. But even before pandemic, I work from home because I talk with my clients like this via Zoom or via a phone. But what I do is when I'm on the phone, I'm walking back and forth within the house as well. And then I love to do gardening. So it is not so much as the gym style exercise, which is great for your cardio anyway. I go for a walk every day about 4 miles. But it is also about keeping your movement. If you have that movement, uh, my grandmother used to call it fidgetiness. If you have fidgetiness, which is good for you, because then what happens is your muscles are active and they keep on saying, hey, I'm going to keep this door open, because maybe there's not a huge number of people coming in, but at least people are coming in. So I'm going to keep that insulin door open so insulin can get that glucose in as I need it. So that's the importance of exercise. It keeps your body functioning as it needs to. And that's, I mean, that's why they say today's sitting is today's smoking. What as much damage smoking used to do, prolonged sitting does the same thing. But some people have their jobs. Like, for example, your 911 dispatchers. They can run around. They have to be at their station, right? So what do? They can take that break, which they get 10 minutes. Instead of eating at their desk, they can get up and walk around, eat their food, and then come back. Or, eat their food in 5 minutes and take a walk around like 10 minutes within the building. It doesn't matter. It is that movement that allows the muscles to keep that insulin door open, and that allows your insulin to be released at the right amount. And of course, what you put in your body matters also. If you have big meals, then you're going to use this much glucose right after the meal. I mean, I haven't seen anyone eating a big meal and then hitting the gym right away. Most people will have that food coma, right? So what happens to then that extra glucose which is not going used? It gets converted to fat. So then it sits in places that we don't want it to sit. And over a period of time, it just keeps on adding up. And all of that creates other issues like inflammation and all that. So I talk about that in the book. That's why I wrote the book, because it's in plain English. What's going on in my body? People want to know what's going on in my body. What are you screaming about it about pre-diabetes? Well, this is what's going on at the low level. So you don't detect it until your body doesn't tell you until you look for it. And that's what happens. So yeah, exercise, it doesn't have to be gym exercise, but you can just walk around. You can just do little things. If you have pets, go take them for a walk. They will be happy you're taking them for a walk. But whatever it is that, just instead of sending an email to your colleague, um, get up and go to their office if they work in the same building when pre-pandemic times or post-pandemic times. Just walk within the house. It's okay, even if you just do it around the neighborhood in the house. That's great. Just keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
That's very simple. Just keep moving.
Right, right. Okay, MJ, I know you have something to say right now.
Yeah.
I do. I have a question. Well, several questions. You kind of touched on some of the ones. I never really believed that you can be that diabetes is hereditary. So I wanted to know if you can touch on that a little bit more. And as far as being predisposed to diabetes, how is it that children who are the most active, how are they getting diabetes, even if they're because I'm sure a lot of, is it because parents are feeding them differently? No, it can be exercise because kids running around all the time, but how are they predisposed to it? And I have a friend who stays in the gym, but he has diabetes. How is
Mhm.
that possible?
Okay.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to say,
Hmm.
my mom, she had lung cancer, but she didn't develop lung cancer until after they found out. I mean, well, after she was found out that she had lung cancer, she developed diabetes. Can that bring it on?
Well, okay. So several questions. So let's first talk about predisposition to diabetes or family history or genetic history. There are certain genes which predispose predispose you to developing insulin resistance quicker than others. And there are many. There are about 11 that are major mutations that occur in your insulin receptors, how they behave, whether those, like, it's like the quality of the door on your muscle or your tissues to allow the insulin to come in. Some of those qualities not very good, then bad quality doors, they're so hard to open, they warp and they get stuck like that. Your insulin receptors are not working well, so they don't stick to insulin very well. It doesn't allow it to open it well. The glucose doesn't come in. Okay, so those are some of the genetic types, and in fact, in my family we have that. My aunt had done research on that, and I know that on my father's side of the family, women especially were becoming diabetic at an earlier age, in sometimes in their late 30s, early 40s, and at a much lower weight. So it wasn't also that they didn't have to be that big to become that. And that was because of the genetic predisposition. So if you know your family members, especially the first line family, your father, mother, or their immediate relatives, and they had that, then you have a bit of a predisposition for it. Okay. But the good news is that in most cases, what you put in your mouth, how you put in your mouth, and how you expend it, and how you manage your stress, because your stress also has an effect on how much glucose you have in your body. Okay. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. But if you manage those, your sleep has a great effect on how your glucose or insulin is released and it's not released. That's why all those, we call it them habits of health. And I focus on all the habits and not just food. Food is an important aspect of it. The second question you said is it the parents feeding kids inappropriate diet? Well, yeah, American diet has changed. And here's the deal. What has happened is the portion control, the portion sizes have changed. There is an amazing infographic at CDC's website. It's called New Abnormal, AB in parentheses, New Abnormal. So you will find that soda, 12 ounce used to be extra large. 12 ounce used to be extra large in 1950s. Now what? Extra large is what? 48 ounce? So you're having an extra large Coke or Pepsi or what have you, but you're consuming 4 times the calories.
Yeah.
Now, normal FDA portion of French fries is 3 ounce, means those French fries will fit into your hand. That is what your grandparents ate when they ate French fries. Today, if you go to a restaurant, a standard size is 4 times bigger than that. It is 12 to 16 ounce.
Right.
And in
Yeah.
some of this, it's like a mountain, which is almost 24 ounce of French fries. And that makes it all that extra calories that are coming in, and they're refined. So rice that we used to eat before was handmade. So it had more fiber. So you would eat a cup full of rice and you would be satisfied and you didn't need any more. Now we have a mountain of pasta, mountain of rice. Well, that's what we are also, we have that portion distortion. And because we have that, children eat, children don't do what you tell them to do. Children do what you do.
Right.
And just as burning off the calories, if you want to burn off those French fries, the standard size, you'll have to play frisbee for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And
Play
you know,
frisbee for 4 hours to burn off those French fries alone,
right.
right? So
And you
that's
and
the problem with that part.
right. And if you look at the sugar, the amount of sugar in a can of pop, some of
Yeah.
them is unbelievable. In one
Yeah,
can of pop, it can be more sugar than you're supposed to have an entire day. And just that one,
absolutely.
so that's not accounting for bread that you eat, like you said, rice that you might eat. It's just
And
unbelievable.
other things too. I mean, tomato sauce, Heinz tomato sauce, when it was first introduced, did had in 1 tablespoonful of the, which is the real serving, not two, but 1 tablespoonful of tomato ketchup was that it used to have 2 grams of sugar. Now it is almost 5 to 8 grams of sugar. So you can see our food has changed, and it's not just And part of it is to increase the shelf life. Part of it is our taste buds are numb, so we need more and more and more. I mean, it's no longer silver dollar pancake. It is a stack of pancakes. Those stack of pancakes are enough to feed the whole family, but we are eating it. We go to a restaurant, an appetizer is an entire day's worth of calories. One of the appetizers in Florida, and it's a beautiful, wonderful restaurant, very nice restaurant. But the appetizer for one person was 1,800 calories.
Wow.
One
And that's
fast
just breakfast.
and just appetizer. It's an appetizer, not even your entree and the
Oh,
rest of
oh
dinner.
my God. Just the
So you can
appetizer.
imagine what happens is we get that caloric pollution. And uh, Clarence, you can definitely identify through that. When you were a kid, you rode the bicycle to the grocery shop to get what your mom told you to get, right? Or
Yeah.
your parents told you to get. What do we do now? We go, either we call in and it gets delivered, or we hop in a car to go
Right.
to a grocery store to get our groceries, right? So we don't bike to I mean, it was an interesting experience for me, and I'll quickly share that. I came to United States in 93, and I lived in a suburb of Chicago. That was the first place we rented a house, apartment, Oak Brook. And from India, we walked a lot. I walked a lot in India. Our hospital was widespread sprawling. So I used to walk a lot. When we went to grocery store, we walked, right? So the Jewel Osco was not very that grocery store wasn't very far from my apartment. So I put my daughter in the stroller and walked over there. Nice sidewalk. So walked over there, did my little groceries, put the grocery bags on the stroller, and was walking back. Three people stopped along the way to ask me if I needed help and if I needed a ride. It's like, no, I'm just going a mile away. It's right there. It was interesting to me how my mindset also changed slowly. And instead of sending pencils and erasers and that kind of goodies for birthday to my daughter for her school, they wanted us to send pizzas, cupcakes, all of that. So you're training kids' minds too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Hmm.
that's what happens. We are changing expectations and behaviors, and that becomes a generational thing. The cost of the Happy Meal really is not 99 cents or whatever it is nowadays. I don't even know what it is. But that Happy Meal comes with a later on the tag of, do you know, an average diabetic, if they're diagnosed in their 50s, over their lifetime, out of pocket, will spend nearly $300,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. I believe
And
it
that's just
because
out of pocket with
mhm,
Medicare, with insurance, all that's not counted in this. This is $300,000 is what they will spend if they're diagnosed in their 50s. So
Wow.
that's the price tag.
Well, if you don't eat, you can be a millionaire, right?
I know. Or if you eat right, not the junk food. I mean, I can tell you, since I've lost all that weight, reversed my diabetes, became healthy, um, I've saved a bunch of money on all the supplements and all that other stuff. I kept track. I was
Mhm.
spending $957 a month out of pocket, and I had great insurance, don't get me wrong. But that's what I was spending on
wow.
acupuncture for nerve pain, all of that things.
Oh,
Guess what? I have that money in the bank now to do fun stuff rather than just survive. And that's the thing. People don't understand. They come out ahead if they take care of themselves. And who doesn't want to be around for their family and have fun, right?
right.
Exactly. Right.
So you went from being heavy, like the picture in the back, to how
Hmm.
you are because you changed your diet and you changed your
All the
lifestyle.
habits we change habits one habit at a time. And one of the my worst this was stress. I did not manage stress well. Doctors
Yeah.
are the most horrible patients
That's me.
because we don't listen. All
Yeah.
healthcare providers are terrible patients. We don't listen. We don't deal with our stress. We can do whatever, we are the strong ones, all that, but we don't necessarily manage our stress well. And
No.
that affects our health in many ways. And one of them is actually pushes you to into pre-diabetes and diabetes. First of all that stress hormone does is makes you hold on to all that fat, not on the arms and legs, but in the midriff. And you don't even know it because it is packing around your organs. So you think, oh no, the scale must be broken. It can't be right. Okay, that's what happens. A lot of people say, oh, I carry my weight very well, so I'm fine. Actually, you're not. It's going around places which is going to create trouble for you. And that's what was
Because
happening. I did not address it stress very well at all.
Mhm.
So, but now I'm so much better. 5.5 years, no more diabetes, nothing. It's just, I have so much energy.
That's really awesome. Okay, now MJ, what were you gonna?
No, I was saying congratulations.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I want to know with is that what they call visceral fat that's around?
Yes.
It may not show on the outer side, but it is in the inside, and it can be building up, and
And
can
and it
stress.
is inflammatory fat. It releases inflammatory chemicals. It puts
Mhm.
your body into 5 alarm status all the time. And that's not good because then it leads to all kinds of issues. That again, I discussed that in the book because we don't understand if your body gets stress signals, your liver starts changing its behavior. So instead of making Joel Oscar grocery trucks, it starts making Humvees. Now, Humvees are great supply vehicles on battlefield, but they're not good grocery trucks. So they don't make proteins. Liver doesn't make proteins which will absorb the things that you ate and deliver it to the cells. So you may be taking the best supplements in the world, having the best organic food, but if your liver is under stress, it's not going to deliver it to your cells. So it doesn't work, right? Well, so we need to turn that inflammation down, and not just by taking antioxidant pills, but really seeing what you eat, how you eat it, and losing that visceral fat. Once you lose that, everything kind of calms down, and the liver says, oh, we're not under siege anymore, so I can get to do now what I am supposed to do. And it changes its behavior. And you can actually see that diabetics suffer from what is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And
Wow.
that is because fat gets stuck in the liver cells, which then again, who wants that? If you have garbage sitting in your living room, you're not going to have a very nice living room or party in your living room, are you? So that's what happens when you have fat in the liver cells. It doesn't work very well. So that's why I said diabetes is not just a sugar disease. It's much more complex. And we need to chip away at each of those things so that we are healthy. That's the way to do it.
okay. I have one viewer who's asking the question: what do you tell people that say what you're saying is all well and good, but they're not going to deprive themselves, and they're going to eat everything that they like,
Okay.
um, and they said, but be miserable doing it. So how would you talk to somebody who's saying, I'm going to
No, I
do
don't
it?
want anyone to be miserable doing anything, but I want them to know what works with them. So, okay, let me give you my example. My son-in-law, he's Italian. He's wonderful baker. He makes amazing cookies. Okay. So during Christmas time, that's the time he makes cookies. Okay. I do sample the cookies and giving mother-in-law opinion, but I savor it. I eat that cookie as if I'm going to write a blog about it. Okay.
Oh,
So I love that cookie, but I don't eat a plate full of cookies. I don't eat cookies moving back and forth. And I don't go to grocery store and eat the cookies. My son-in-law doesn't work for the grocery store. So why am I eating their cookies? I want to reserve my eating cookies for my best cookies I can ever get. And that's from my son-in-law. Why not? Right? So there are things that you truly enjoy. Be a foodie, a true foodie. A true foodie doesn't waste eating on substandard or the food that they don't like. They reserve their eating to the food they really like and then they appreciate it. You should be able to tell me how that slice of Chicago style pizza was. How was did that rosemary or basil or whatever was there in the sauce, did it come through? Did it have garlic in that sauce? I'm going to ask you if you told me you ate pizza. It's like, wow, awesome. Tell me about it. Was it more mozzarella or was it more cheese? took more cheddar, or did they have a Parmesan, or did they have like one of the restaurants in suburb of Chicago? They use cornmeal at the bottom to make that crust real crunchy. Did you notice that about the last slice of pizza you ate? If not, you just gobbled something up. You didn't really eat pizzas. You need to eat pizza so that you mean it, like you mean it, you know? So that, so on the contrary, I'm going to teach you how to eat your food, the food that you love. Not just down a martini, but you should be able to tell your friend why that martini was unique and was great, and how you would go back to that bar again. You have to be able to do that. If not, you just downed stuff which might have been colored water and you didn't even know it.
Yeah, and if anybody want to know what that pizza is, the cornbread at the bottom, that's Dino's East.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Or even, we with my daughter's Girl Scout troop, we had gone to show them how pizza is made. There's a place in suburb called Luma Lanates. So they showed us actually how the girls learned how to make the pizza actually. So that was such a wonderful experience. After that, why would I eat pizza which is mass produced? Why would I do that? I want to real good food, not just mass produced, which you can't even recognize what's in it. What's the point? I mean, be a foodie. That's what I say. Be a foodie, real foodie. That help your listener that I'm not going to take anything away except I'm going to your enjoyment, so that you
Right.
really mean what you ate.
Right. Now, what's the name of your book again? One more time.
It's called Diabetes. What's the big deal? In plain English.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. It's both ebook as well as paperback. Just so you know about the paperback, if you buy the paperback, I donate $5 to a children's charity here. It's called Children's Hunger Project.
Okay.
So this is for the kids who are on school lunch, over the weekend. Um, this project sends them food from Friday night to Monday morning,
Oh, that's
so that
excellent.
when they come Monday morning, they're not food deprived and they're ready to learn again. So that's the charity I support with the royalties of the paperback with that. But this is full and chock full of great stuff. But in addition to that, it also has some of my recipes at the back, which I like.
Okay.
I'm Indian,
Cool.
so some chicken masala and things like that. Really great. See, I don't take food away from you. I just help you enjoy it better.
Real quick, a question for you, Dr. Perkins. I wanted to know, like you said, about like you just well, I guess my question was just answered when you said you have your own recipes in there. I think that a lot of people who do are predisposed or people who have diabetes, does it make a big difference if you really just cook for yourself and not like eat out all the time? I'm sure it
Yeah.
does make a big
Yeah,
difference.
it does. And you don't have to make complicated recipes. A single skillet dinner is all it needs. So, well, like for example, I'm a vegetarian, but all I had, I mean, I eat eggs. So all I had today for dinner was a nice bowl of salad, just simple salad, some lettuce, which I love to grow stuff. I do gardening. So I had some arugula and some spinach and kale, and threw in some olives in that and had a very light vinaigrette on it, and put a little Frank's hot sauce to get it going. I'm Indian. I love spicy food. And then I just had one egg white and one egg, kind of like over easy. I had that protein, I had that, and I have been eating throughout the day. This was my dinner, one of the what we call lean and green. And that's it. That's simple. It took me 10 minutes to make it, 10 more minutes to enjoy it. And I can describe it to you. I had put a little black pepper on the eggs to, again, get it going. Oh, come on, I'm Indian. We love spices. So I just added that to it. So it doesn't have to be complex. You can just do that. Now, if you are forced to eat outside, like I had a client who was a truck driver. He can't cook every day. He's on the road. So we also helped him choose food which he could eat, again, if you're eating throughout the day, you're kind of keeping your glucose like this rather than going up and down like that. So again, every stop, he walked around when he parked his truck. Instead of checking his phone sitting in the truck, he would walk around the rest stop. So he kept on going that, and then he learned how to de-stress at the end of the day when he reached the motel or what have you, not depend on alcohol or anything like that. Really, it was about mindset. And once that happened, he not only lost 70 pounds, he reversed his diabetes. He got off 2 of his medications, only had to take 1. And it is possible to get better. Our body has the ability to heal. We just have to stop throwing wrecking balls at it. That's it. That's all there is to it. So it can be done, but you don't have to stop eating outside. Just have to learn how to order right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it. It can be
Uh,
done.
Doctor, when you talk about stress,
Mhm.
how's that related to high blood pressure or the fact that high blood pressure can also have a effect on you having or not having diabetes?
Yes. So here's the thing that happens. Um, when you are under stress, when our body was evolving, there were 2 types of stress that we experienced. One, we were starving because we didn't have the woolly mammoth. We were subsisting on berries, so we were starving.
Mm.
So when we did encounter the woolly mammoth, whatever we did not eat, we stored it as a fat. So your stress hormone keeps on storing the fat. Okay, if you are eating a lot more than what you're using. So that's what your stress hormone or cortisol does. Okay. The second thing cortisol does is also you need, what was the other stressor? What that saber-tooth tiger caught up with you and ran away with your foot. You escaped, but you were bleeding. So you didn't have enough blood circulating. So what did you need in order to push the blood to your brain? You needed to raise the blood pressure, narrow those blood vessels so you could push the blood against gravity to your brain, so you knew how to run away and hide from that tiger, right? Your body doesn't know that we live in modern times and saber-tooth tiger is extinct. When it recognizes that stress chemical, it behaves the same way. So it starts raising your blood pressure when you're under stress, okay? Because it thinks that saber-tooth tiger caught up with you and you don't have enough blood. The second thing that happens is we have way too much sodium, hidden sodium in our food. That sodium makes your blood vessel very sensitive to that increase effect of increasing blood pressure. So that also, you have that high sodium, you have high stress, put those 2 together. And what do you do when you're, I mean, especially in your line of work or even in, what do you get in vending machines? You get a lot more sodium, hidden sodium in those beef jerkies and all those things that you eat because they have to have shelf life. Sodium stops bacteria and everything from growing in it. So you have more sodium in that, and you're eating it without knowing it. And then that adds to the whole melee and that leads to it. Now, if you have that kind of setup and you have diabetes, glucose and sodium together wreak havoc on your blood vessels. That's why you get eye problems, you get kidney problems, you get peripheral nerve disease. All of that is because your nerves are not getting enough blood, your eyes are not getting enough blood, or they're bleeding. The vessels actually are bleeding. Same thing with the kidney. So all of that becomes like a orchestra, except it's a dysfunctional orchestra. And that's why stress matters. If you manage your stress well, um, I used to teach my students, some of my students used to commute from Miami to West Palm Beach. The daily commute is like, being on 290 every day for 2 hours.
Stress.
Imagine that, right? And you have no control over that because traffic is going to do what it is going to do. And then they would come and sit in my classroom. First 20 minutes, nothing was going in here because they were de-stressing. So 20 minutes of my lecture was going into thin air. And then later on, they're trying to play catch up because I had covered some ideas before. So I started teaching them how to do open-eyed mindfulness awareness meditation while they're sitting in their car, focusing on the car in front of them. So their stress didn't go up. Now, some of them love to have de-stressing music. So when they arrived in my lecture hall, they were ready to learn. They were not stressed.
Mm.
So we have to learn how to de-stress sitting in front of computer. When the technology doesn't work, when the audio doesn't come on and you have a show to run, don't let the stress go up. Breathe,
That's me all day.
breathe, right?
Yes.
Breathe, absolutely. And as you do that, fog in the mind also clears up and then say, oh, I just have my speakers on mute. I didn't really take a look at that. That's it. And the solutions come to you because when you are like this, you can't see what's obvious also. But when you just breathe, we forget to breathe. How many times have you said, I was holding on to the breath for the next shoe to drop? Instead of that, it's like, breathe. So simple things like that will make a huge amount of difference to your stress system. And that helps over the period of time. Just do it slowly. You are not the sniper that who has to hold the breath to find the target all the time. No, you're just a human being sitting in front of a computer. Okay. Once we start training our body, our mind like that, our chemistry changes. And
Oh,
it's very
that'll help
small,
MJ
right?
a lot.
Pardon me?
I said that'll help MJ a lot.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing, but we forget. And that's why we need someone to remind you. Why do you think I coach? Because remember Chicago Bulls, they were all stars, but they were not winning championships until Phil Jackson was the coach. And
Yeah.
then won the championship.
Zen master.
So yeah, there you go,
Hmm.
grandmasters of coaches. You need that someone to help you realize. It's like, hey, it's okay. You can handle this. It's okay. So you need the coach, you need a guide, and I think that's why I decided to become a coach, because I benefited tremendously from having a coach.
Hmm.
I still talk to her. In fact, I talked to her this afternoon. So it's a good thing. We can do a lot. We don't have to be a prey to our lifestyles. Small habits make a huge difference, and it can be done. Absolutely, I'm the living proof, and I'm not the only one. We have many, many, many people who have done this, so can be
Right.
done.
Wow, that's great. Well, I just want to ask you really quick, what do you think about the intermittent fasting? Like, you know,
Well, here's the thing. All diets work in short term, but 85% of people who go on diet regain their weight back within 2 years. Why? Because they don't change their habits. And if you're trying to do intermittent fasting and you're following every rule, you're more likely to be stressed whether you're doing it right or not. What are you doing about the other things? I also, yeah, you can go on a diet. Absolutely. You will lose the weight and then you will be back again. And trust me, I was there before until I realized how habits were important, and I found this system that I coach in. Name a diet and I did it. Okay. Because I wanted to lose all that weight. There was no question about it. I wanted to lose that. I wanted to get better. I was motivated. If you wanted to find a motivated client, I was it. I was the poster child. But I did not learn the effect of the habits. I did not really embrace it until I did that. It was that lose weight, gain it back some more, feel bad, lose weight, gain it back. So it was going back and forth, and that happens. In fact, a current flyer of mine says January 1st, 50 million Americans will have goals to lose weight.
right.
1 in 4 will last for 4 weeks, and of the remaining, they'll last for 5 weeks. So that's why you get the best gym memberships deals in March, because gyms go silent in March, because we don't keep up the rest of the habits. And that's what we need to do.
Mhm.
We have to do that. We
Right.
can. It can be done.
Okay, everybody. Any final questions? I don't want to hold you too long, doctor.
Oh, that's fine.
Final questions? All right. So the name of the book again is Diabetes What's the Big Deal in Plain English? And it's available on Amazon.
Big deal.
Oh, what's the big, what did
Mhm.
I say?
It is. It is
Oh,
available on Amazon and
okay.
both ebook as well as paperback. So you know. But and again, it has my. You can share my contact information with anyone who wants to send me emails with their questions. I'll
Okay.
be happy to answer that.
I
Okay,
do
I'll
have
put that
one
on.
question, one
Yes.
real question, and it's not just about diabetes. I wanted to ask: is it true? You're disease specialist, right? Is
Hmm.
it true that um what am I trying to say? That the impurities lie along the spine where certain types of illnesses or it can bring on certain types of illnesses if it comes out of a dormant state.
Well, I'm not a chiropractic physician. I'm an allopathic physician. I'm an MD. Okay. So, but what the university, which is in Chicago, they are science based, they're evidence based. What we do know, just as our hormones control the body, our nerves control a lot of reactions of our body. And
Right.
as you know, spinal column is the main communication between the brain and the rest of the body. So when you have
Mhm.
proper posture, proper joint positions, including your muscles that stabilize the spine, the health of the spine, all of that, that will have a great effect on your rest of the body. So you may want to reach out to National University of Health Sciences. Dr. Stiffel is the president, and he can come on your show and talk to you a lot about spine health. And again, they are
Wow.
science based. They're amazing. They're science based. Reach out to them. National University of Health Sciences. Dr. Joseph Stiffel is the president, and tell him Dr. Prakash sent you. Sent you. He
Well,
knows
how do
me
you,
well.
okay, now how do you spell his last name?
Stifel.
Okay.
Okay.
S, yes, Stiefel. I'm not sure if there's an E in the middle or not.
Is it
Okay.
two
Okay.
F's or just one?
F-E-L.
We'll
But yeah,
Okay.
find
if you
it.
look for National University of Health Sciences, it will
We'll,
come up. Yeah,
yeah.
they're down in Lombard. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
we have an amazing research department. We have the National Institutes of Health funded studies. I mean, it's
Mhm.
rock solid. I've been with them for 25 years, and yeah, they're great. So talk to them.
Okay, great.
And
Thank you.
they're PhDs. They're PhDs, not just DCs, but we also have PhDs there. There are a lot of great folks there. So talk to them.
All
Yeah,
right.
they can tell you more about spine health.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
All righty.
okay. Clarence, you have anything before we go?
No, I'm good. Um, lots of information. Uh,
Yeah. Very relatable, very practical. And so we know we can't be healthy and look wonderful without making some sacrifices, making some changes, but good
right.
things, not so much, punishment, but good things. Right.
Good things. Yeah.
It's a lot
Uh,
on it,
Exercise.
it's
really.
it's like when you have a beautiful church, you want to keep the pews nice and clean. You want to keep the altar
Hmm.
clean. You want to have the landscaping nice, right?
Right.
So your
Yeah.
body
So
is the church. Why won't you look after it?
exactly. So I'm
Do it.
gonna share the email for Coach Jaya. It's
Hmm.
Coach Jaya at coachjaya4health.net. And I put it in the comments, but I'll also put it in the page that I'll share after the show. And
Yes.
again, the name of the book is Diabetes, What's the Big Deal in Plain English. So it's available on Amazon and email, what do I say? Ebook and paperback. And the paperback, $5 is donated to the organization that you mentioned, and
Children's Hunger Project.
Children's Hunger Project. And
Yes.
anything more that you'd like to add for me?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me. It has been so much fun talking to all of you and answering any questions that you had. That was really great. I do miss the seasons of Chicago minus the winter.
Uh,
Oh my
But
God.
I absolutely look forward to when I do visit Chicagoland next time. I'll definitely get in touch with you. I would love to come and meet with you.
Oh,
Thank
Oh
okay. Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that would be great. Really would. All right, everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you then. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Okay.
You
Take
Thank
debunked
care.
you.
my what we said about hereditary.
Hereditary, yes, as I said, we have some genes that are inherited, but we have a lot more under our control. I mean, I haven't changed my genes. I still have the insulin resistance genes. I just took diabetes.
Thank you so much. Thank
All
you.
righty, take care. Okay,
Okay.
bye bye.
Thank you, all of our viewers, for tuning in to Shy Panther and Friends. We appreciate it. And as always, every week I ask you to take care of yourself and look out for your neighbor. And God bless. And we'll see you next week. Good night.
All right, bye now.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Bye. Okay.
I'm still
Oh,
here.
MJ, no.
Oh, Marcy, she popped off so fast. She usually stays.
Yeah, I'm saying. I thought I was gonna tell her.